Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, brought to you by GamblersWorld.net, where we guarantee all our selections. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we'll credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. It's Thursday the 25th. If I didn't allude to that already, I will now. And like every Thursday, I am joined by Mr. Chip Chirimbes, also of GamblersWorld.net. I'm Ross Benjamin of GamblersWorld.net. And the guy on the bottom who singled out, the special guy, is Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. Doug's been with me on this show. Well, Chip, as a matter of fact, too, on this channel with me for the last 3+ years. So, wow, we're getting old. Anyway, Chipper, how are you, man?
Just wonderful. As long as these big games keep rolling on, we hit our 4th straight megabuck in the NBA, and baseball's doing just as well with our top play. So each and every day, it's exciting to get up, Ross. We've talked about how many times when we had trouble getting our heads off the pillow. Yeah. But right now, I'm floating on cloud 9 every time out.
Yeah, you're springing up off the bed and off the pillow like a spring chicken. And like you're coming off a trampoline. And Doug, what about you? Is the trampoline working for you in the morning?
Well, it's not a trampoline, but I'll tell you what, generally speaking, things are going well. I like the direction. NHL continues to do well, especially in big games. NBA has been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but a couple of wins the last few days. I passed yesterday, had a 6-unit win on Tuesday, so that was a nice best bet winner. And so look to continue that tonight, and actually got a 5-unit best bet winner going there. And then baseball, other than the Braves yesterday blowing a 3-1 lead in the 9th inning, that kind of hurt a little bit there. But otherwise, things are going well in the NBA, excuse me, in Major League Baseball also.
There you go. Doug Upstone. You could find all his picks at DocSports.com. He's the lone guy on this channel that's not with GamblersWorld.net, only because he's got an exclusive contract with Docs. And if you're not familiar with Doc Sports, you need to be, because they've been around for 53 years. And in this business, longevity speaks volumes. Doug, by the way, he's one of 12 handicappers over at DocSports.com, and he's unequivocally our favorite handicapper over at DocSports.com, and that's no slight to anybody else or no disrespect intended. Chipper, your A plays or your Megabucks plays doing very well.
Yeah.
And Doug, you're doing well again with your hockey. And Doug's one of the finest handicappers in the NHL over the long haul. I mean, you go back a decade and he's got several top 5 top finishes at independent sports monitors. Chip is number 1 at the website GamblersWorld.net, our sponsor site, in the NBA since its inception. So he's earned the most money in terms of all the 9 other great handicappers at the site. On the other hand, myself, the NBA playoffs have been extremely good to me. I won again last night with Oklahoma City. That makes me 4-0 over the last 2 nights in the NBA. Had a stumbling block on Monday where I went 0-2, but since that time, 4-0. And folks, since the 2022 playoffs, 87-52 with my NBA postseason picks. And that's good for 63%, folks. And on top of that, since March 19th, on a 21-8 run with my NBA picks. And also that includes 9-0 with my NBA totals. So a lot of good things going on. You could find myself and Chip over at GamblersWorld.net. You can find Doug over at DocSports.com. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. And Doug, you're going to give us a couple props. Now, you've been telling the folks right along, you've had an excellent props record, and you could fill them in on that as well before you get to your picks. But you got a props play in the Cavs game against the Magic, and you also have a prop in the Lakers-Denver game as well. So fill us in on how you've been doing with your props, and then get right into the plays, my friend.
Absolutely. I've hit 5 of my last 7. And in fact, if you watch Monday's show, I gave you a heart for over it was points, rebounds, and assists. And that was 29.5. And at halftime, he had 29.
Yeah.
So we were good.
Very smart. Yeah.
and on that one. So that was good. So yes, so I got a couple here for you. But since the middle of December, now this covers all props, various sports and stuff like that. A solid 59% across the board. That's 19 weeks of props that I've been putting out. I don't put them out every single day, but I put a variety of them out when I see something that looks of value. And so, and I think I got a couple of nice value plays for free today. So let's get started with that. Cleveland, Orlando, as Ross mentioned, and a big problem for Orlando has been Cleveland's Jarrett Allen. Okay, in a bunch of different ways, actually. He's averaging 19 rebounds and 16 points per game. With him and Evan Mobley in the paint, they are just dominating the Magic's big men. Now, there will be a change of venue to Central Florida in this one, which should help Orlando's attitude. At least you would think it would be. But with Donovan Mitchell shooting the ball so well from the outside, that opens up the lane. And so with that the case, they can feed the ball into Allen. On the season, he averages 16.5 points per game. And so if that's the case, we're talking about 27.5 for his overall over-under total on points and rebounds. So at 16.5, all we need is 12 rebounds instead of 19. Okay, I think we can be good. So take the over. Jarrett Allen, 27.5 points and rebounds.
Beautiful. So there you have it.
On that, and then I'll give you the other one in just a second.
So Doug is the most interesting prop player in the world. And when he doesn't play props every day, but when he does, people listen. Go ahead, Doug, get into the next one, please.
All right. So, hey, you know what? There's a lot of LeBron haters out there. I know. I've gotten in arguments on Twitter and all Facebook and everything with all kinds of people about that. Hey, you know what? I do. I've always liked LeBron for a variety of reasons. You know what? People have criticized him basically for 2 decades. But you know what? I think in our job, sometimes we all do things over the last 2 decades that maybe some people could question. James Still is one of the top 15 players in the NBA, and his prop for points and assists opened at 34.5. And looking at the board at one of the different sports books is that of the different players for this particular prop, only Luka, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, and the Joker have higher totals. And in terms of age, Lillard is the one that's closest at 6 years difference. The number climbed to 35.5, so I'm not the only one thinking this one can go over. But I'm looking at this in James' last 7 games. He has gone over 35.5 5 of the 7 times, and it would have been 6 except for when the line jumped point to 35.5. And the last 6 times that he has played 38 or more minutes in a game, he has gone over that 4 out of 6. So give me LeBron James in a desperation game for the Lakers to go over for points and assists tonight.
So here we have it. LeBron James over 35.5 combined points and assists. And then he also likes the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jarrett Allen, to go over 27.5, and that's points plus rebounds. So one of the best prop players you find anywhere in the sports betting industry, Mr. Doug Upstone. And Doug says that, you know, even some of us in our industry makes mistakes that we all question over the course of the years. I know I've made plenty of them, but Chip, he doesn't make very many, right, Chip?
I haven't made one yet this in 2024, so we're hoping to go the whole season undefeated.
Anyway, Chipper, you know, neither one of us play props a lot, and so there's not much we could add to what Doug said, and he's the expert when it comes to props. And we lean on
do the work.
Yeah, well, we lean on him for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? We all have our strengths, and that's not his only strength, but it's certainly not mine or yours. In any event, Chipper, we're not discussing the Denver and Clippers game today, but we can get our thoughts, me and you's thoughts on that, and see what Doug thinks. But, you know, how do the Lakers respond here? I know they're down 2-0 in a series. And, you know, history will say the teams down 2-0 are a high degree of desperation and urgency for obvious reasons. Number one, they don't want to fall behind 3-0. Number two, nobody in the NBA has ever overcame a 3-0 deficit. But this is a different set of circumstances. They had a 20-point lead in game 2. and they end up losing the game on a buzzer beater. How do they respond here emotionally, Chip?
Well, they are veterans. They have that going for them, so they should be able to recover in that regard. But it was kind of funny because they did Lakers out that game, and we did cover the spread. But there was at one point where they had a 16-point lead, and they had LeBron on a breakaway, and he blew the layup. He was uncontested, no foul. He missed the layup, and I turned to the guy next to me, and I said, "I hope that doesn't come back to haunt them." And they lost by 2. So who knows what would happen? They probably would have lost by 10 in overtime. But this doing the props where you have to individual numbers, people against each other. I'm not as astute on that as Doug may be. The numbers I'm looking for, and I'm telling you, there were numbers on this game that I got taken back. Well, I was thinking of the Orlando game, but the Lakers come up favored here, and like you said, in a desperate mood, which sort of raised an eyebrow for me. They've gone over 47 and 36 on the season, and Denver is going under 30, 49 to 31. So they're actually there's a clash there if you're looking for a total. And the Lakers just don't play defense as well as they have in the past. They allow 117 points, 113 is the league average. I'm in a quandary about this game. I passed this game. I don't see anything strong, overwhelming. I think the desperation on the Lakers side has got to be there. I mean, they've lost 10 or 11 straight to this team, I believe. And, it's hard to take the Lakers. It really is. So that's probably the side.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it would go against public perception in that regard. And, if you want to use the mindset that my other 2 colleagues on the channel have, which is Jesse Schule and Craig Trapp, Sean Higgs, they are adamant that the NBA does everything in their power to keep the Los Angeles Lakers alive when it comes to playoffs. In this situation, they're down 2-0 in the series because they cite the disparity in free throws in LA. They have over 200 more free throws than their opponents this season, and that nobody's even close to that. So, Doug, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And my point to them is always, you guys are delusional because the bottom line is, you got a guy like LeBron James, who's probably one of the best penetrators in the game still at his age. He draws fouls along the way by doing that. And then Anthony Davis, the same thing, gets to the free throw line a lot. So, Doug, I think it's the style of play that the Lakers play. And certainly when you got star players like LeBron James, it's only human nature and, not done consciously, but human nature where a referee gives them the benefit of the doubt on a foul that might go his way and not go other players' way when it comes to being on the fence on a call.
Yeah, and it's not like this is news, by the way. Okay, a star player getting calls in the NBA. Who would have thought? Okay, it's only been since we've been alive that we've been able, when it's been on television, that we could see this. Even and both of you guys are I hate to bring up age, but both of you guys are old enough. The Boston Celtics in the '60s, from that standpoint, oh my goodness, talk about getting calls. That's where I probably learned about the bias of referees, especially in home courts for particular teams. Anyways, so I am 100% don't believe it, anything to do with that, because if that were the case, why wouldn't the Lakers be a top 3 team in the Western Division as opposed to having to play a play-in game? In this one, though, for me, my money is going to be on the Lakers on the first half line. It's either 2 or 2.5. I think that they come out to play in this one. And the one thing I will share: the last 55 times, a home playoff team was trailing in a series like the Lakers are. They have a winning record on the season, and playing another winning team, they are 35-20 against the first half line, leading at halftime. So I think the Lakers as the play at -2 or -2.5 on this one.
Yeah, and what's the game line on this? I don't have that in front.
I think it's 2.5.
All right, so it's similar to what the halftime line is. So that speaks volumes. And Yeah, I mean, again, we're not opening anybody's eyes, but in case you've been hiding under a rock over the years, it's well documented that home teams down 2-0 in a series have been a very high percentage play against the first half line because they come out with emotion and desperation and urgency. And then the old adage is once you take the other team's best punch, meaning the visiting team, things level off a bit. But anything further you want to add, Mr. Chirimbes? And is there anything on this date you want to share?
Yeah, there is, as a matter of fact. But before I get to that, how do you stop LeBron James? I mean, come on. I mean, you have to follow him. And Anthony Davis is so strong inside there as well. I can understand why they're shooting so many more free throws than anyone. But, today is an important date in Major League Baseball history. Actually, in NBA history, it was a year and a half, Ross. It was a year and a half after Jackie Robinson had already made his debut in Major League Baseball that the NBA drafted their first African American. It was in 1950. Chuck Cooper was the man who was drafted, and it seemed kind of surprising to me that it would be 18 months, a year and a half after Major League Baseball, when basketball is so predominantly dominated nowadays by African Americans, and it was basketball a little late in getting in on the times, I guess.
What year was that?
1950.
All right. And folks, you want to know another day in history, or how about a year in history? 1 year later, Chip Chirimbes, at the age of 8, started his sports betting handicapping career.
And a year later, the Whiz Kids won. Philadelphia snuck in.
All right, Chipper, let's get into your game. All kidding aside,
Yep.
Cleveland at Orlando. Orlando down 2-0 in the series, 2.5-point favorite here, 201.5. And what do you got here? I mean, the Orlando Magic look like a team down the final stretch of the regular season and in the first 2 games of this playoff as a team that's overachieved and ran out of gas. But again, we're talking about a 1-game situation here, Chip. So take it away.
Well, we talked about numbers, and here Cleveland opened the favorite in this contest. Now the numbers moved. Is it the smart people and the wise guy, or is it the public that has moved Orlando to the favorite? You spoke about how a team down 0-2 returning home, how they seem to be a play, at least in the first half for sure, right? And so this is the situation Orlando finds themselves in. I don't like the fact that the lines moved as much as it has. The original opinion of the odds makers that Cleveland was the favorite, and who moved this number? Now, this is the type of information that we'd like to get during the day. Right now, we're not quite sure where it all came from. But I'm looking to play this game under the total 198.5. And there's a couple of reasons why.
Well, it's up to 201.5, Chip.
What was that?
It's up to 201.5 when I check.
Is it really? Then I like it even better.
Yeah.
Number 7 on defense is Cleveland. We know that Orlando had trouble scoring when and they're such a slow-paced team. The way they delivered, their offense is so deliberate. Number 4 in defense, 108 points per game. But this is kind of intriguing when you start looking inside the numbers. They're number 1 in defensive rebounds allowed, which means they block out. They're number 1 in offensive rebounds that they take off the boards, and they're number 1 in least amount of assists allowed, which means they're playing close defense. I think Orlando and the Cavaliers stay under the total tonight.
Yeah, well, again, this total went down to 198.5 from its opening number of 200.5.
Right.
And now it's back up to 201.5.
Okay.
And, I got to believe you want to know why the line movement went down to 198.5. I personally think that was a sharp move.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the public money has made this 201.5 because it's so enticing. It's very rare, if in recent years anyway, where we see a total dip below 200 in the NBA. In terms of the side,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the side, Chip, I mean, the line has moved in the favor of the underdog. I mean, right. Orlando opened at what, a 1-point favorite to pick them? It's up to 2.5. I would vehemently say that is a sharp move because you got a team down 2-0 in a series, a team that's really looked piss poor, for lack of a better phrase, in the first 2 games, and a team that's really struggled down the stretch. And when Donovan Mitchell's been with Cleveland and in the lineup, you mentioned it the other day, Chipper, they're a whole different team. Yeah. So in any event, Doug, you have any insight into this matchup?
Well, if it's insight, I have words to put together. I can tell you that for that stuff. But no, so the honestly, I truly would like to play Cleveland, okay, in this one. But here's my question: do they have the killer instinct, okay, to go up 3-0? Because that's what it takes, to do that, to go on the opponent's home court and get the job done. I'm not so sure. Now, Ross, I will give you kudos here. Is that the other day you said unequivocally that Orlando would shoot better in game 2 than they did in game 1. And they did. They went from 32.6 to 36.2.
Hey, they improved.
He nailed it. Okay. Just want everybody to know that. But here we are, the Magic at home this year, 48.8% at home. They're 29-11 straight up. Cavs are 23-19 straight up. Do I think the Cavaliers can win the game? Yes. But you know what? I'm going to go 50.1% with Orlando, okay, to win and cover this game. And the only reason that they end up doing that, in my opinion, is their guards play better. If their guards play the same, Cleveland's up 3-0 in the series.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's an interesting tidbit for you, Doug. And this one, I'm not going out on a limb on. It's a fact. All right. So the Cleveland Cavaliers this year are 0-5 straight up in ATS as an away underdog of 3.5 or less. So they really haven't thrived in this role in the few times they've been in it. And Orlando's been on a nice run at home. They got a really good home record this year. Yeah. And also they've been on a run. I think they're 7-1 in the last 8 at home or something along those lines. But the home and away splits for both teams certainly favor Orlando, but as we know in the playoffs, sometimes it matters little because things change a lot. So great stuff. And Mr. Chip Chirimbes, he likes the under 201.5. Yeah. All right, let me get to my game, and I know Chip's ears are up because he's a big Knicks fan. And the Knicks at Philadelphia tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Right now, the Philadelphia 76ers are a 5.5-point favorite and the total 203. Chip, sorry, I'm not going to give you a side here. So we can discuss that after I'm done. The Knicks have gone 6-0-1 to the over in their last 7 and 12-1-1 to the over in their last 14 games. The first 2 games of this series has seen the Knicks shoot 27 for 68 from beyond the three-point line for 39.7%, which is an extremely good figure. In the first 2 games, the Knicks have got to the free throw line 51 times and made 42 of them. That's a nice figure in terms of free throw attempts, and their percentage of 82.4% from the free throw line during the first 2 games is excellent. Philadelphia, they'll be playing on exactly 2 days of rest. And guess what, Doug? The last 7 times they played on exactly 2 days of rest, guess what? They've gone over the total on each occasion. And the combined 232.1 points per game were scored during those 7 contests. Now, Philadelphia over the first 2 games of the series, 25 for 71 from three-point range. Is that real good? No, it's respectable, though. It's 35.2%. And also the Philadelphia 76ers, they've been able to get to the free throw line 44 times in the first 2 games, making 36 of them. And again, I can't emphasize enough to all of you out there, if you're going to handicap a total, not only in the NBA and college basketball, you need to look at not only how well teams convert from the free throw line or don't, if you're looking at it under, but the amount of times they get to the free throw line, okay? It's because a team could be in the NBA, for example, they could be an 85% over the last 7 games, but they're only getting to the free throw line 16 times. I'd rather have a team shooting 82 and getting there 25 times a game, if you follow where I'm going with this. So the real oddity, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, Doug, okay? We'll see if you could bring something up.
I'm waiting. Go ahead. I'll sit up.
These teams combined to shoot 96 for 218 from inside the three-point line. That's 2-point field goal percentage of 44%, which is a little below average if you're talking about field goal attempts in general. But 44% from 2-point range is terrible by NBA standards. Yet, these games have played 1-0-1 to the over in the first 2. Number one, that happened because of the low totals, 208 and 205. Okay, now it's 203. And the good three-point shooting and free throw shooting has made up, and the ample amount of free throw attempts in both games have made up for the poor shooting inside the three-point line. I'm going to say that they're going to shoot, both teams will shoot better than 44% tonight from inside the three-point line. They may not continue the pace they are doing in terms of three-point shooting accuracy. But I do believe the free throw attempts and the percentage of free throws made will hold steady. For that reason, I'm going to go Knicks 76ers over 203. Doug, I know you're chomping at the bit and you're writing stuff down and your mind's racing. So go ahead, take it away.
That makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me, though, is this, and this is just as a general topic with the NBA playoffs. In the NFL, they call the games close in the regular season and they let them play in the playoffs. The NBA is doing, and in the last 2 years in particular, but very much so this year, they're doing the exact opposite. They let everything go. Okay. Don't call, as many fouls they called a lot of fouls where scoring was so high in the first part of the season. Now, honestly, both you guys would remember, I'm not saying it's 1990s NBA, but it resembles it in terms of the style of play, to where holding, clutching, everything that's going on, the physical play, it's so completely different. And obviously it favors the teams that are more skilled and from a physical standpoint and play that direction. Now, New York was outshot in the first two games. Okay. But how they won the game, Ross mentioned one of the aspects is that they won the free throw battle, okay, made more free throws, and they also were dominant in one game and won rather convincingly in rebounding. So that's how that game played. Those two games played out. Now the scene shifts to Philadelphia, who's going to be obviously very frustrated because they know they should have won game two. New York will come in with a lot of confidence, but one thing they won't get is they won't get the home cooking that they got at MSG from the referee standpoint, which I think will help the 76ers. The 76ers to me is the play, even at 5.5. It's a little higher than I would prefer. I like the original line at 4.5 better, but I still think Philadelphia, with everything that they have to offer, I don't think the Knicks will have near the, I hate to say luck, but they won't have the things go their way as well as what they did at home on the road. So I'm going to say Philadelphia wins and covers this game.
Yeah, well, a lot of things did go right for the Knicks. Number one, they shot just a shade under 40% from the three-point line in the first two games, which is, that hasn't been their forte all season long. You got guys shooting a high percentage from the three-point from beyond the three-point line, like Josh Hart and OG Anunoby, and in the first game, Deuce McAllister. So they're getting players to step up and shoot beyond what their season averages show. But Chip, I said, how do the Lakers recover from blowing a 20-point lead in game two and now being down 2-0 heading home? How do the 76ers recover from that meltdown in the last 28 seconds in which they blew in game two, that is, in which they blew a 5-point lead? But again, Chip, I know the way you think in this regard. Doesn't the Philly being minus 5.5 speak volumes to you?
It does in a way. There's a lot of other numbers swirling in my head, and one of them is 4 straight megabuck winners. And I'm not going to give you a side on this one tonight because I have a megabuck play on this game. Usually I avoid the Knicks, but Knicks and Sixers tonight, it really comes up big for me. And that number is interesting, moving from 4.5 to 5.5. And I guess if you log on and follow the buy links, you get the definitive answer for me. But I do have some New York information for you. On this date in 1980, an anomaly happened where the Major League Baseball umpires held Billy Martin back from going into the stands to beat up a fan. So that was one day that the umpires were actually on Billy Martin's side.
There you go. That's probably the only time in Billy Martin's career where the umpires were on his side. All right, so we got Chipper likes Cleveland and Orlando over or under 201.5. Under 201.5. I like the over 203, in the Knicks and 76ers game. Doug Upstone, 2 prop bets, folks. And Doug is one of the best prop players around, like I said. So pay attention. Jared Allen, over 27.5 points and rebounds combined. LeBron James, over 35.5 points and assists combined. So there you have it. Those are our picks for Thursday the 25th. Chipper's got a mega bucks play on the Knicks and 76ers.
Right.
I got a 5-unit top play right now at gamblersworld.net where I have the winning side in the Orlando and Cleveland game. And Doug Upstone's going to tell us what he has going tonight.
So tonight, I actually had a baseball game that has already gone today. In fact, I think all but one game is a day game today.
Right.
I think in Major League Baseball, I think the Yankees are the only team playing at night. But I do have a play in the NBA, and it's a 5-unit play going tonight. And I also have a live underdog in the NHL. It's not a best bet, but I got a live underdog that I really like tonight and look to improve my outstanding record in the NHL.
There you go. Doug Upstone, find him at DocSports.com. Ross Benjamin and Chip Chirimbes, find us at GamblersWorld.net. We guarantee all our picks. Single game and multi-game daily packages, subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. Folks, if you don't win, you don't make a profit, we'll credit your account back the exact amount of what you paid on that particular subscription or daily package. Okay, so it's not a lack of confidence. It's us saying to you, if you catch us on a bad day, because sometimes timing is everything in this business, we are confident that we're going to give you a credit to your account, and you're going to be able to use that money to recoup what you lost and also make a profit over the long haul. And that's what it's all about, folks. So Chip, number 1 at the site in the NBA since its inception. I don't think if there's any handicappers that are doing as well as me in the NBA playoffs over the last 3 years now. It's just maybe a handful, okay? But I like to think I'm one of the best in that regard, and the record speaks for itself. I was called arrogant yesterday, so I got to be careful. You know, Chip, I mean, I don't know. When the facts back yourself up, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. If I crossed it, I apologize, folks.
Hey, no, Ross. You know what? I'm gonna back you up too. Now, I will say though, because I've seen some of your Facebook videos. If you're wearing the big stylish sunglasses and you got the gold chains going and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I know. We know a guy like that, Chipper. Anyway,
know a guy like that. I forget his name.
Yeah.
But anyways, if that's
he's just an average Joe.
I can't think of what his name could possibly be.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, if you did that, then maybe that person has something to say, but you don't do that. You're just stating the facts, and that's not arrogance. That is the truth.
You know, Ross, our record is what it is, and it's posted for everyone to see every day, and we don't win every day. We admit that. So, kudos to you on this last 3-year run in the playoffs, and, big games. We all like to jump on them.
Yeah. Another guy questioned me calling us pros. And he said there's a human element. There's no difference basically between me and you. And I would beg to differ, because when we use the word pro, number one, the 3 of us, and you guys tease me about my age. I'm the youngest one of the 3 here, but we're all experienced. Okay. And we've been doing this for over 2 decades. Chip a lot longer than me and Doug, probably combined more than me and Doug. Okay. So I don't think that's far-fetched, but we're doing it every day. We're doing it for a living. Okay. When we put out a pick or we submit a pick and charge for it, the whole world could see what we have. Okay. Yeah. Number one, you could pay for it. Number 2, it's all documented, not only on one site, but several sites. So again, if you want to use, and also keep in mind, folks, not anybody can make a pick. Could anybody, and not very few can get on in front of a camera and articulate themselves well in terms of the intelligence they use in their analysis and their methods and techniques to arrive at a decision. So there you have it. Sorry if I rubbed anybody the wrong way, but I'm not going to apologize for winning. Anyway, don't give us a like on our video. That would go a long way in showing some token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast. 5 times a week. And folks, our goal has always been, continues to be, and will be in the future. We want to make you a smarter sports better today than you were yesterday. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is the Winner Circle Sports Betting channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Just click on that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. There's no strings attached. There's no hidden agenda. And while you're at it, go into your YouTube settings and hit on the alert notification bell for the Winner Circle Sports Betting channel. You'll be alerted and notified immediately upon any of our content going up on our channel. For Chip Chirimbes, Doug Upstone, and Ross Benjamin, these guys will be back with me on Monday. I'll be back tomorrow with Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs, and we'll be doing our live show at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Encourage you guys to all join in. Give us your questions and comments. But until then, for the three of us, take care and God bless, folks.